I have this image of me, but I want to look like I'm having a cool night out. Perfect. That looks like a typical Tuesday for me. But I could use some company. Boom. Now that's more like a typical Wednesday for me. But I kind of want to flex on Instagram, so there it is, hanging out on my yacht. But let's add in some of the homies. Bezos, Zuckerberg, Ronaldo, Swift, Beyonce, and LeBron. Perfect. Got the whole crew together. So that was easy and fun, but what about something practical I could use for my business? So I think with Futurepedia, we need to get into the energy drink game. So I dragged in our logo and it created this future fuel. Max energy for the AI era. So that is impressive, but the real cool part is this unlocks infinite product photos. Or how about using it creatively? I have this scene and I can get alternate camera angles, insert shots, and emotions, all while retaining character and style consistency. That's just a little taste. I'll cover many more use cases for fun, business, creative, tool combinations, and everything in between. The best part is you can do this all for free right now. I'll show a few different places to use it. And for anyone that doesn't know, I'm talking about Nano Banana from Google, officially known as Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, but I'm still calling it by its former codename Nano Banana, as I hope everyone else continues to do forever. It has topped the AI image editing leaderboard by a wide margin, and it is well deserved, so let's get into it. The first place I'll show this is right in the Gemini app. You can sign up for the free plan and start using it right away. And this isn't a standalone image model, it's part of Gemini 2.5. That gives it very good understanding of the world and also natural language. So that means you can get a lot from very simple prompts. Of course, being more specific will guide it further, but we'll start simple. Just drag in a photo of me and I will say, create a Time magazine cover with me as the person of the year. I should be wearing a suit and look as if it was taken in a studio portrait photo shoot. Additional text that says, Kevin Hudson, the man who changed everything. And that is absolutely perfect on the first try. Got all the text right. It even has the Time letters behind me a little. Looks just like a Time cover. So how about now make a professional headshot for me? I should be wearing something nicer and look like it was taken in a nice studio. All right, that looks great. Now, give me long hair. Perfect. So I used to have long hair and this is actually pretty accurate to what it used to look like. But now give me a tattoo across my forehead that says Futurepedia and a tattoo on my cheek that says AI. Perfect. So these collaborative edits through natural language are one of the things that make this so useful. ChatGPT and Flux Kontext both have this same ability, but Nano Banana is just much better at it. So there's obviously endless types of edits you could make like these. You can see how you look with different hairstyles, eye color, facial hair, glasses, on and on. But let's try something harder. Create a movie poster using my face. It will be a parody of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly called The Good, the Bad, and the AI. It should have a Western theme, but with an AI crossover twist. Maybe a robot as one of the other characters or something. As I said, it understands natural language pretty well. I'll just let it figure that out. And that is a really good movie poster, but it doesn't really look like me. And something I've found when this happens is re-uploading the photo and saying to fix it just doesn't really work. It tends to just give back the exact same image. So I don't know, for some reason, maybe it just thinks this looks like me, I guess. But I'll show some of the workarounds for this and other issues as we go through. But the easiest way around it in this case is to just use the same prompt again and let it start from scratch. And there we go. That looks much more like me. That's a really good movie poster. Even used a nice, unique font. The Good, the Bad, and the AI. The Man with No Server. 3 icons, 1 final code, no mercy. I don't know that I follow that tagline, and all this text at the bottom is just gibberish, but that is super impressive. These types of edits are a very common way to use this, so I'll just jump through some others like this from the community real quick. Right, so they had some of these, like trying on the different outfits. I have a giant dog rising out of the sea. Make a miniature model of the lighthouse and put it on this table. That's solid. We'll do more stuff like that later. Another one with a jacket and shorts. I'm gonna put this shirt on him, and it looks like that. That's perfect. Here's changing the background and the clothing. That looks just perfect. He kept the same pose perfectly. It even figured out how to do it around his arms folded up like this. That looks great. Chris Castanova did the movie poster thing too, but she included 7 people on it. Looks like it nailed all of that. And you can get pretty crazy with these references. Travis Davids really pushed this and combined 10 things all in one image. You can't actually upload that many references, so what he did was made a collage of each of the different items and just added a label to each item. And it got every single one of these with all the finer details all into this image. He posted another one, pushing that even further up to 13 elements. It's hard to check for every single detail, but it looks basically perfect. So we'll move on from there. Now, people in the AI world have been throwing around the idea that Photoshop is dead because of this. Not the first time that phrase has been thrown around, but let's test out some of the specific things you would typically do in Photoshop. We'll see how right they are about it this time. This time I'll actually switch over to a different platform to use this on, Google AI Studio. This is a platform where you can use a lot of Google's newest models all for free. I've actually made an entire video just on this platform. There are limitations to the image and video generations, although I haven't hit the limit on image edits yet, and I've been doing a lot. And now upload an image. Now this is a photo I took, but I decided to just mess up all the colors and brightness on it. Now I'll just say, fix the color in this photo. This is what came back. That looks amazing. I think I actually might like it more than the way I color corrected my original. So great job there. So I'll try something with this photo I took. Then I'll upload an image of me and say, add me into the photo leaning up against the side of the van. And that looks good. The face is a little warped though. But now let's add some snow on the ground. Got that perfect. How about give me a sweater? That's something I'd usually use generative fill for right now, but it does a good job with that. Now let's try to add some text. So add the word Aurora across the top in a cool font that matches the vibe. Okay, that looks amazing. That was perfect. It's a really solid font and even has a nice little glow to it. So I would say it nailed that task. Other than the face not being clear, I'd have to fix that another way. One option would be with Magnific. That would work pretty quick to get a nice face on there. I will cover some of the upscalers later. The images you get back from Nano Banana are pretty low fidelity, especially when you're using them in the Gemini app. So using an upscaler after you're done in here is a very good idea. Let's try some more adjustments. So I've got this photo of a moose I took while hiking. Change the leaves to fall time colors of red, orange, and yellow. Yeah, that looks good. Mostly red and orange, not really yellow, but that's fine. I changed the color of the grass too though. That's blurry in a lot of areas. So we'll see if it can distinguish what's grass and what's leaves. Okay, that did a really good job with that. But now you might be thinking, hey, it's fall time. The moose would be shedding its velvet by now. So I'll see how well it understands this. Now the moose shouldn't have velvet on its antlers since it's fall time. Remove the velvet so they're hardened antlers during the rut. Okay, wow, it actually nailed that. That's amazing. One more common one is removing people or objects from a photo. So I've got a really difficult one of the sunrise through Mesa Arch. There's just tons of people here and it got rid of them all really well. That looks great. And this is the photo I took from within that crowd, by the way. Definitely one of those Instagram versus reality type places. But here's another thing it's really good at, colorizing images. So here's the Hindenburg. It did an incredible job with that. Now, how about this famous Tesla image? Okay, yeah, that looks solid. It still kept the old school feel to it. Now, it does work for restoring damaged photos as well, but only to a point. So I found this a really bad one, and it imagined new people that are clearly not at all like the ones from the original. Like, it looks like that's an older woman, but it turned into a young boy. So there's definitely a limit there. Same kind of thing with blurry photos. It works for a little blurry, not super blurry. And sometimes it'll like just reimagine the photo. So I did this one of a black bear that I zoomed in a lot on. I asked it to add detail. It came back and looked pretty good, but it changed the position of the bear. That makes it feel like it wasn't an authentic photo. So I would never actually use that. I was hoping it would just sharpen it up and keep everything else the same. But I'm not the first to try this. Here's a bunch from Rodrigo Brissain. All right, this is a really long thread. I won't go through all of these, but you can see it does an just incredible job with this. Probably one of the best ways to colorize photos now. This image editing is an impressive feature, but it's only a small part of Gemini. So a great way to level up with the other aspects of Gemini is with this free resource provided by HubSpot. It's called Google Gemini at Work, and it's a complete breakdown of how to use Gemini to speed up your research, improve your content, and build entire marketing strategies in a fraction of the time. My favorite part is the Gemini marketing stack. It shows how 5 tools like Deep Research, Notebook LM, and Gemini 2.5 Pro work together to handle everything from campaign planning to content creation to building interactive dashboards, all without needing a big team or agency. There's also a 4-week rollout plan if you want to actually start using Gemini in your workflow right now, plus some copy-paste prompt templates you can drop into the chat right away. If you're in marketing or just curious how far you can push AI tools, you'll definitely want to grab this one. The link to download it is in the description. Thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this video and making these free resources available to everyone watching. So it can do a lot, but let's get into something I use Photoshop for, making thumbnails. It's definitely a harder task, so this will highlight some of the limitations. Now, you may have seen people on Twitter hype it up for this specific thing, but when using it in practice, you run into a lot of issues. And I'm back in Gemini for this one, by the way. Make me a Mr. Beast style thumbnail with my face on one side, my mouth open, and my hands on my cheeks with a shocked expression. On the other side is a computer. On the screen is a banana with text underneath that says Nano Banana. The background is futuristic. and this is the result I got. So it's not bad. It was definitely impressive that it can do that, but the style is pretty old school. I'd want to make some changes to it. I could see this style working in some niches. But let's do another one first. Give me a thumbnail in the style of a tech software reviewer. Use my face and make it a thumbnail for a ChatGPT tutorial. So basic prompt. This is the result. Definitely not good. I mean, it followed the prompt, but it's just not a good thumbnail. We'll do one more. So I'm going to try to recreate a specific thumbnail I've used in a previous video. So I've just got a little description of what I want to basically just recreate this thumbnail. And right here, we come across a very common issue in here is the aspect ratio. It's not very good at following what you say. It defaults to whatever aspect ratio your image was. And I used 2 images in this one. The N8N logo was a square though. So it decided to make the whole thing a square. And if you ask it to change the aspect ratio to 16:9 or 9:16 or anything else, it won't do it. It'll just give you back the exact same image. Maybe they'll fix that someday, but right now it's not even worth trying. It has never gotten it right for me. So instead, I just took that N8N logo and extended it out, just adding blank space on the sides. So now both the images I uploaded were in 16:9. Now it came back with this one. It's fine, but it forgot the text. So I asked for the text banner, added a plain banner on the bottom. So I asked for it to move that up to the top right, but it left the pink on the bottom. So I said, now remove the pink from the bottom. And it was still there. So I asked again in different words. Didn't work. So I changed the wording again. Still did not work. My apologies for the oversight. I will remove the pink banner from the bottom of the image now, but it is still there. You will definitely have this happen where it just gets stuck on something. Like it'll be able to do these really complex, amazing things, but then something super simple, like remove this little line at the bottom, it just fails completely. But with something like a thumbnail, you need to make small changes all the time, like lots of them. So I've found that this does not work well in practice when you need a bunch of small changes in a row. I also tried one where I drew out the whole composition and asked for it to create the thumbnail from that. So I did a good job and made a couple changes, but it got stuck again. But to fix it, it's way faster for me to just pull it into Photoshop to make these changes. So what you could do is get close, then ask it to isolate the different layers. Like maybe in a new chat, say remove everything but the text, then remove everything but the background, and remove everything but the person. Then you'd have these different layers you could bring into Photoshop to work from. And I will say, these are just some quick tests I did. But if you have a concept and sketch it out really well, have some good references and a really solid prompt, I think you could get some good thumbnails with this, or at least close. But in real production, for most people, you'll probably still need to pull this into Photoshop to make further edits. And that's not just for thumbnails, same goes with like graphic design, photo edits, web design, and lots of other work. This does not make Photoshop obsolete, but it is a great tool to add into your toolkit in a production pipeline. Let's get back to some business use cases. I'll go a little more over those product photos I made at the beginning. It is so easy to do, and I didn't even show all the ones I made. To create the product, I just gave a simple description. Give me a sleek energy drink can with this logo on it, and it's called Future Fuel. And that looked just amazing right out of the gate. I did ask it to change the slogan to Energy for the AI Era, and got that perfect. The first thing I did was take that bar image it made and ask it to replace the drinks, but it only got one of the drinks correct. So I asked it to replace the other, just removed it, asked it again, put the original drink back, asked another time, and it cropped it into a square, but it did add the drink to her hand. This is what I say when I ask it to go back to 16:9, it just does not work. So for me, it's way easier to just go fix that in Photoshop. I just layered it onto the original. Then I said, fixed it for you, and I wanted to have them drinking from the cans now. Then she decided to drink from her secret can that was hiding behind me, but got it all to work in the end. Now, for all the other product shots, I did some by adding in a prompt. Like this one right here, add a pretty long prompt. Came back just perfect on that one. Looks amazing. Then some of these other options I tried just weren't looking too great. It did its job, but the images just weren't that good. So instead, I went into Midjourney and downloaded a bunch of images from there. The Midjourney aesthetics just can't be beat. So I would take those images and just ask it to replace the can. And of course, I ran into the issue of the different aspect ratios. So taking my original square can image, I just cropped it also into a vertical and horizontal aspect ratio and just matched it with the image I was uploading. You can see as I'm scrolling through these, they almost all worked on the very first try. It is just so good at this. So for product placement and making ads, this is an amazing technique. And since you can include text in your images as well, there's a lot of additional use cases that open up from this. So just sticking with this Future Fuel example, let's test out some other stuff. It's kind of funny when I asked it to create a landing page, but it added all this other additional design work for the landing page here. But this is the visual representation it added at the bottom. Looks pretty good. There are a couple misspellings on here, but that looks decent. I asked it to give me an alternate option. I do like this one a bit more. Then I tried one more time, and I think this third option was the best of all. That is a very solid landing page. And since this is Gemini, you could actually have it code this for you right in here. But we can do more than just landing pages. How about some sort of data visualization? I wasn't sure exactly what to use, so I let it come up with it. It said, come up with the data and visualization idea yourself. Feel free to use made up data and numbers. Had a big long answer here, and this is what it came back with. The future fuel's impact on productivity and focus. Has a really nice graph here on how many hours into your workday before you crash. I had it make me some business cards. Then I decided to try one that seems a bit harder than that, to create a full font for future fuel, including every letter, but using the font on the can as inspiration. And this is the font it gave me. Then I guess if you take the top line, the N from this line, and then this bottom line, that's the whole alphabet. All this other stuff is just extra here. But this does look all very cohesive and a pretty solid font. I think these little lines through them are based off of the F on this logo here, trying to match that. But there are just tons and tons of different ways you could use this in all aspects of your business. I tested a ton of just random silly stuff. We'll get into that for just a second here too. So I asked for me as a South Park character. I mean, that just looks perfect. That's exactly how I would envision it. And as a Minecraft character, that one looked all right. Yes, I can see it. And as a rubber hose animated character, that one looks really good. But I kept trying to match the same setting, so I asked for it to do a GTA 5 character walking down the street. And yeah, I'd say it nailed that. I don't really play any video games, but I think it did. We got a claymation character walking in a forest, an action figure in a box, the dude action figure, grizzly guy. I guess, okay, for ages 8 and up, I don't know. Definitely looks like me though. I saw someone do this one, show me what my dog would look like as a person. The dude definitely looked stoked, and he was wearing his little blue vest that day. Then one more was turn this image into a black and white coloring book page. Did really well with most of that. There's just a ton of fun stuff you can do in here. I tried to have it create a meme for me, just uploaded the Photoshop logo, my face, and the Drake meme. It didn't replace my face on here, so I uploaded this new image and my face again, and it did work. Not bad. I wish it had merged it a little bit better with him, but looks good. Here's another one that ended up being just super fun. So I took some old random drawings I had from like back in high school, I think. I used to just doodle random weird stuff. So I started uploading those and said, give a real world representation of this. And I love what it came back with. Like, I don't think you could have done that better. Like, to go from this little drawing to that is just awesome. Then the next one, I had this guy, just weird random guy I drew, and it came out like this. That is just incredible. I did not expect it to turn out this cool. Some of the others weren't as good, so it was hit and miss on these. This one just kind of added color to it, but yeah, that looks pretty cool. This one looks pretty good. And hey, this is high school. Drew some weird stuff. Somehow it made that work. These weird little conjoined twins here turned into this. That one is just awesome. I mean, I'd watch that show. Then I kept trying to have it do this one right here, this kind of weird flower thing. And it would say, is there another image I can try? I'm here to help create all types of things, but can't make images like that. No idea why. But that brings me to the other place I use this a lot, Freepik. So I like Freepik. It's one of those platforms that has just all different types of AI tools, image generators, video generators, image editors, upscalers, just everything all built in one. So you don't have to have 20 different subscriptions. You can just use them all in one place. Currently, if you're on one of their higher plans, you get unlimited Nano Banana. Another benefit of using it in here is it doesn't have the watermark and it doesn't compress the image as much. It is a good option. It won't be free like the others though. But when I brought that in here, it worked, and I really, really liked this one. So that's just like a random side one I thought was pretty fun. Now let's get into some of the more less obvious and complex use cases for this. Excentrism Art made a nice little comic here. It has consistent characters across each of these frames. I really liked this one from Albert Einstein. The prompt was extrude this hand-drawn fantasy map into a complete navigable 3D tabletop world, interpreting contour lines for elevation and symbols for structures like castles and villages. So it went from this map to this tabletop world. I thought that was a very creative way to use this. I like that a lot. This one, isolating a single building or object and turning it into an isometric model. Just a very simple prompt to make an isometric model of the object only. Even from this just kind of terrible picture here, it was able to make this model. There's so many little details in here. It's very intricate. And as they show in this comment right over here, you could bring this into an image to 3D generator and turn it into a 3D model. There's a few different sites you could do this on. There's Hunyuan, there's Tripo, and a couple others. They had a whole string of examples here. These just look amazing. Just being able to extract that and turn essentially anything into a 3D model. That's just incredible. That used to be a very complicated pipeline, but now super easy. This is kind of a variation on how I was turning my sketches into a real life image. So Brent Lynch used the prompt, depict as a live big budget costume test on set, shot on film. This little cartoon into this guy. Jared Liu has this one with all these annotations, similar to how I made that thumbnail earlier where I sketched all over it. So he brings on each of these people and the plant and then adds a caption for each of them to explain what they are. Just drops that in using Freepik, and he shows the video here, but down here is the image that came back. He understood exactly what he was saying and generated the rest of the body for each of the people. And then he just turned that into a video. The fact that you can just mark specific areas and provide reference instructions is really powerful. The fact that it actually understands what you're intending to do. There's so many directions you can take this in and use cases for it. That just gives you a lot more control. So this is another example using that same technique. Gave specific instructions on each different part of the building. And then this was the final result. It followed that so well. It'd be very, very difficult to try to explain that in a text prompt. Really, the only way you're going to get that is by annotating the image. This one from Bilawal is really cool. So since Nano Banana has Gemini's world knowledge, you can just upload screenshots of the real world and ask it to annotate stuff for you. His prompt was, you are a location-based AR experience generator. Highlight point of interest in this image and annotate relevant information about it. I have to double check if this stuff is accurate. I would guess that it is. In that same kind of realm with using Google Maps as part of the process, using the prompt, what does the red arrow see, and just drawing right on a Google map, showing the perspective as if it was in the position of that arrow. There's quite a few of these. What does the red arrow see of Tokyo Tower? It says it looks like this from there. Now I'm going to go ahead and assume that these are not accurate and it wouldn't look exactly like this from that position. But just from this, it understands what that's asking for and to be kind of sitting on the water looking at the Golden Gate Bridge. That's some pretty incredible understanding. Another amazing example here from Will Borzin. You can spend hours fiddling with lighting, materials, environment variables in Keyshot or Blender, or you can send a screenshot of CAD to the image model with a one-sentence instruction. It's got a CAD screenshot of an aluminum extrusion frame, give it a realistic, clear, anodized aluminum finish, and give it a black studio photography. And that looks like it got it exactly right. Give it a white background. That one does look a little better. There's so many different applications across various industries for this. And of course, there's all the interior design and real estate uses, like testing out different wallpapers on here. There's just always such an issue when trying to use ChatGPT for this. It would always change stuff about your image. It just never looked right. This keeps all of the other areas of the image so intact, so you can really get an idea of what this will look like. That is just such a useful thing to do with Nano Banana. And a lot of people have been using this to create consistent characters across scenes. It's far better at this than Flux Kontext or ChatGPT. This one's from Jared Liu. Like, this girl looks the exact same from shot to shot. Perfectly consistent. And MetaPuppet actually made a short little video doing this. This is all based off of one image. It just maintained that consistency, as he mentions here, across all these small details. And he said to pay attention to his shirt and hat in particular as you're watching this. He said this is the original image he used and then prompted for him in different situations. All of these. And I showed some examples of myself testing that out at the beginning of this video. So this is my original image, just this little anime scene in a market. I asked to move the camera up and got a higher angle shot. The perspective looks a little weird, but not too bad. Then a close-up of her, close-up of him, close-up of the cat, of course, a shot of the overall market, then an insert shot of someone just picking up an apple, an aerial view of the market, another higher angle. Then I tried to zoom out on that higher angle I had. And then I asked for her giving all these different emotions. I had a few variations of this and picked the best. Did the same thing for the guy and the cat, and randomly gave me just a normal cat. But you can quickly get your character across any scene, maintaining the style and even small details of that character. This is by far the best form of character consistency we've had, something we've been waiting for such a long time for. Now, once you start combining this with the video tools, it unlocks unlimited possibilities. So I tested out just a couple really quick ones. So this is a photo I took of this rock with the Milky Way above it, and then I just asked to switch that to daytime. Then I brought that into Kling and asked for a time lapse. And that looks just so good. This is using their new start and end frame feature. You know, I would never actually take a real photo and do this with it. But if you're adding something into like a shot in a movie or an AI film, this is perfect for that. Then of course I used that image of me and the woman in the bar and animated that. Another way to use this is to get B-roll for videos. Say I mentioned working in a coffee shop, and ask Kling for a quick video. The physics are not perfect on this one. This is not a great example. I know the coffee cup just appears from the side there, but that was just a quick demo of what you could do with it. Runways Act 2 is another way to use that. I can just take any still from this video and then bring it into Nano Banana, ask for a different style or character, then bring that into Runways Act 2. Then it will keep the hand movements and the lip syncing consistent through the whole shot. Now, I did mention before, these come back in really low resolution, especially in the Gemini app. So it's a very good idea to use an upscaler. There's lots of options for this. My primary upscaler is Magnific. It is really good. They have their new precision upscaler that keeps all the details intact. Then they also have their creative upscaler, where it's a generative upscale that reimagines your image, keeping the structure intact while adding details. So that's the main one I use all the time. I have no idea how many use cases I covered here. And even with all of that, I feel like it still barely scratches the surface of what's possible with Nano Banana. Like, this was actually a very big leap forward in AI. It's been a ton of fun to play with. I will spend a lot more time experimenting, but I hope that shows you what's possible and what isn't. But if you want to go much deeper on learning AI on Futurepedia, we have a full course platform with over 500 lessons across over 20 AI courses. You'll find full learning paths on ChatGPT, prompt engineering, custom GPT, video generation, coding with AI, and a lot more. It's all included in one subscription. You can get a 7-day free trial using the link in the description, or check out this video on Google AI Studio. I do a whole deep dive into all the other things you can do in here completely for free. There's a lot of features that are not available anywhere else.